Okay, from today's topic, we are going to solve few questions on inverse proportion, looking at the square, the cube, the square root, and the cube root. On the previous YouTube I released, I talked about the direct proportion and also the comparing direct and inverse proportion. So in this case, we are going to talk about the inverse proportion with these few questions. Okay, now from this question we have says that t varies inversely with 7 minus small t full stop. If t is 8 and the small t is 5, find the value of capital T when small t is equal to 11, and B, find the value of the small t when the capital T is equal to 10. Okay, I will pick it sentence by sentence. First of all, we say that t varies inversely with this. If it varies inversely with this, what I'm going to have is, we have that t varies inversely with 7 minus small t. So in this case, what I'm going to have here is this proportionality symbol. I will change it to proportionality constant. We have t is equal to k into 1 over 7 minus t. Okay, so here this is now my proportionality constant. Okay, now the second sentence says if t is equal to 8 and small t is equal to 5, with these two, big T is equal to 8, small t is equal to 5, we can be able to find the value of k. So they gave that big T is equal to 8 and the small t is equal to 5. So if I substitute my t here and substitute my big T here also, I can be able to find this constant of proportionality. So here I have this to be 8 is equal to k into 1 minus 1 over 7 minus 5, and 7 minus 5 is 2. I have 8 equal to k into 1 over 2. So if I cross multiply 2 multiplied by 8, that means that my k will be equal to 16. If I multiply this, because this is k over 2. If you are not aware, this is k over 2. That is over 1. This times this is this, and 1 times k over 2. And if I have it to be 8 over 1, this times this is 16. So my k is 16. Then I will now get this 16 back to this equation. If I get this 16 back to this equation, I have t, bring down t, is equal to k now is 16. Okay, let me have it 16 all over 7 minus t. So this is an important equation we'll be using to solve this question, and this is what we call the relationship between t and k, or if you're asked to express t in terms of the small t, a relationship between t and the small t. But from this question, we are not asked to find it, but we must obtain it. Then the next question says find the value of t when small t is 11. So when small t is 11, we are asked to find the capital T. We don't know this, and our small t is 11. So I will substitute my small t here. So this gives us t is equal to 16 over 7 minus 11, and 7 minus 11 gives us t is equal to 16 over 7 minus 11. That gives us minus 4, and we have this to be minus 4. So if I divide this, my t will be minus 4. That's 16 divided by minus 4 is minus 4. Okay, now the next question that follows also says, find the value of small t when capital T is equal to 10. Okay, so here, this is my A. So B, we are looking for the value of small t. Capital T, this says, is equal to 10, and the small t is what we don't know. I will still go back to this equation here. Substitute my capital T to be 10. I have 10 is equal to 16 over, this gives me 7 minus t. Okay, then you have to note one thing there, that this is also 10 over 1. If I cross multiply, I can have this to be 7 minus t is equal to 16 divided by 10. This come down, this go up. Okay, so here, if 16 divided by 10, we have that to be 1.5. This is 1.5, 1.6. 16 divided by 10 is 1.6. So what I'm having here is 7 minus t is equal to 1.6, because this divided by 1.6. So if I now subtract 7 from both sides, or I can add, okay, subtract 7 from both sides. If I subtract 7 here, subtract 7 here, here will be minus t, and here will be 1.6 minus 7. Okay, if I subtract 7 here, 7 goes out here. So 1.6 minus 7, we have minus t is equal to 1.6 minus 7. That gives us minus 5.4. So if I multiply both sides by minus 1, multiply here by minus 1, multiply here by minus 1, I'll find out that my t is now equal to 5.4. So 5.4 is our t. Okay, now the next question, the number 2 question we are having here, is says that, my 2 question says that P is inversely proportional to the cube of Q. Okay, now let's take this first sentence. P is inversely proportional. That's number 2 question. P is inversely 1 over proportional to the cube, Q raised to power 3. That's the cube of Q. Okay, now the other sentence says P is 4 when Q is 2. First of all, I will change this proportionality symbol to constant of proportionality. That gives me P is equal to K into 1 over Q raised to power 3. So now this is now the constant of proportionality, which I'm going to find and fix it back here. So they are given that P is 4 and Q is 2. So if P is 4 and Q is 2, I will substitute my P to be here. P is 4 and I have K. Substitute my Q to be here. I have 1 over 2 raised to power 3. And 2 raised to power 3 we know is 8. Okay, so we have 4 is equal to, okay, let me take this up here, K over 8, because this is over 1, don't forget. So now cross multiply K will now give us, multiply this, this gives us 4 times 8, that gives us 32. So we have this to be K to be what? 32. Now since K is 32, I will substitute this value of K to this equation. Meanwhile, the first question says express P in terms of Q. So that is what I'm trying to do now. If I now substitute the value of K, which is 32, in this equation, I will have that to be that P is now equal to 32 into 1 over Q raised to the power 3. So this is the question number A, which says express P in terms of K. So P in terms of K of Q. Now the next question says calculate P when Q is 1. For us to calculate P when Q is 1, we don't know P, then we are told that P is unknown, then we are told that Q is 1. I will substitute that here. This gives us P is equal to 32 into 1 over 1 cube, and 1 cube is still 1. So that means that my P is equal to 32. This is just the answer. Then the next question says calculate Q when P is half, 1 over 2. So when P is 1 over 2, we are asked to calculate Q. So P is 1 over 2 and Q is what we don't know. So I will substitute here. P is 1 over 2. I have 1 over 2 is equal to 32. Let me say 32 over Q raised to the power 3. So if I cross multiply this times this and this times this, that means that my Q raised to the power 3 will gives me 32 times 2, and 32 times 2 gives me 64. So I have Q raised to the power 3 equal to 64. For me to find my Q, I'm going to look for the cube root of 64. So therefore my Q gives me the cube root of 64. And what is the cube root of 64? The cube root of 64 is 4. So Q is equal to 4. And that gives me the answer. Okay, now the third one says the force F between two magnets is inversely proportional to the square of the distance x. The force F is inversely proportional to the distance x between them. Okay, let me derive that equation. You say that the force F is inversely proportional 1 over to the square of x. The force F between two magnets is inversely proportional, that is 1 over proportional to the square of the distance. The distance is s, so the square of distance between them. Okay, so this equally will now give us, I will change this to k, and that gives us F is equal to k over x squared. So this k is constant of proportionality. Then from the next question says when s is 3, F is 4. When s is 3, F is 4. When x is 3. So I will substitute this to find k. That's what I'm doing. So if I substitute this, my F is 4. K is what I'm looking for. X is 3 squared. And 3 squared is 9. So my k now will be, this is 9 times 4, because 3 times 3 is 9, and 9 times 4 is 36. So k is 36. I will use this 36 and substitute back in this equation. Therefore the formula or the relationship will now be F is equal to 36 over x squared. Okay, so this is what I will be using to solve any other question that follows. Now the next question says calculate F when x is 2. We want to find F is unknown when x is 2. So in this case I will substitute x to be 2. We have F is equal to 36 over 2 squared, and 2 squared is 4. So that gives us 36 divided by 4, and 36 divided by 4 is 9. So F is 9 when x is 2. Now the next question says calculate x when F is 64. So when F is 64, we are looking for x. We don't know this. So we have to equally substitute f to be here 64. We have f to be 64 is equal to 36. 36 divided by x, you don't know x squared. So if I cross multiply, this go here, this come back there, that's cross multiply. We have this to be x squared is equal to 36 divided by 64. For me to find my x, I'm going to find the square root of this. Remember what we did here. For me to find my cube, of this, I'm going to find the cube root of this. So the same thing happens here. This is squared. I'm going to find the square root of this for me to find my x. So for me to find my x, I have to find the square root of 30. That is squaring both sides. I have to find the square root of 36 over 64. And the square root of 36 over 64 gives me this is 6 and this is 8. So x is equal to 36 over x is equal to 6 over 8.